Hello YouTube. So it's been a little while since I made a video, and what a time to make a video, I guess. Basically, wanted to make a quick video about what's going on in the Ukraine and the relations between Russia and the United States, and pretty much about the bullshit we keep hearing in the media. Whether I watch Russia Today or whether I watch, I don't know, the Huffington Post or the BBC, or whether I'm watching, of course, MSNBC or Fox News, I keep hearing a lot of bullshit. And there are a few things that that I think are important here to consider. The first of all is that we're dealing with geopolitics, predominantly access to the Black Sea. There's been this sort of move ever since the fall of the Soviet Union to contain Russia. That's what the Project for a New American Century was all about. If you look at the nations that the United States of America or the Project for a New American Century people were talking about, they were nations that pretty much surrounded Russia. As well as the Baltic region, which was another one they wanted to target. It's all around. So what we're seeing right now in the Ukraine is pretty much a continuation of this plan, which did not stop under Obama. It's still ongoing. I mean, that's why you had Libya, and that's why you have this whole conflict in Syria, and that's why you have all this animosity towards Iran, and that's why you have now these questions about the Ukraine. And with regards to exactly what happened, well, can't say for sure without getting too conspiratorial as to what started the protests in the Ukraine. It could have been something that were grounds roots. Maybe there really were people, who went out there and were actively protesting, and then at some point, the protests were taken over by a far-right group. And this far-right group just had their leader assassinated, right after a coup in the Ukrainian government took place, kicking out the former leader and installing a new pro-EU NATO leader. Not democratic. Yet, at the same time, the EU and NATO powers are pointing the finger saying that the actions of Russia annexing Crimea were not democratic, when in fact they actually were, because they held free and open referendum, which they had actively said come and investigate the election, and people from across the globe went and investigated the election as it was going on and monitored it. And 98% of the population wanted to be a part of Russia. You don't get much more democratic than that. That's pretty freaking democratic. So in other words, Russia gets to keep. So see, it's the game. So it's not the values and the ethics don't mean anything. It's the game. It's like the Game of Thrones, basically. It's the game that matters. And the whole plan, one of the main reasons, not the entirety, one of the main reasons, of course, they want Ukrainians' business, and they want to be able to shackle Ukrainian residents with international debt, so to alleviate the debt on other Western nations, which is why right now, today, the Ukrainian parliament agreed to an austerity measures and an IMF loan. And, of course, which is also why all of the oil and gas will now be supplied by American corporations for the Ukraine. Which is also why, I could keep on going on, but you kind of get the deal. It's the whole package deal with Democracy Inc. being installed. But it's not an ideal, it's business. And the reason I say that is because Crimea democratically voted to stay with Russia, and the reason why the US and NATO really are pissed off is because that continues to allow Russia to have access to the Black Sea. So that's how you know what the real freaking interests are in this. It's about geopolitics. It's about the Cold War never ending in the minds of Bill O'Reilly look-alike dipshits. And I know there are a lot of those people here on YouTube who do support all this whole, king and country bullshit type mentality. Let's get real. We're all human beings. The only thing we really care about in our own lives is to be happy. It's to be with family and friends. It's to get to live our life. It's to get to, I don't know, have little restrictions in what we can do so long as we're not harming others. And that's really the only aspiration we have in life. Some of us just want the liberty to be able to kick back and do nothing. Stay at home, paint, do something like that. Other people want to go and explore the world. At the end of the day, that's really who we are, and we're not these holier-than-thou dipshits mounting up flags and pretending like we're part of some sort of like superior, exceptional race. It's hard to tell the Nazi propaganda apart from the American propaganda sometimes. But anyways, so that's all I wanted to say. It's just, at the end of the day, the people of Crimea voted. They're part of Russia. I don't much like Putin. I don't like Putin's government stance, particularly when it comes to LGBT rights. I think he's fucking ridiculous. I don't like his stance against Pussy Riot and all those sorts of things. I mean, I don't like states and leaders like that. They always turn into ugly people when power and privilege comes into play. Just like the Democrat who was just a guy who was pro annexing people's weapons and gun control and that sort of thing. Senator, I had it up earlier. Anyways, a senator from California, and he was like a sort of person who was like, video games cause violence and all that kind of shit. And just turns out, the whole time he's like running this sort of arms trade. Selling, small arms, giving small arms to small children in Africa. So it's sort of like this thing where, it's again more of these sorts of dipshits. Of course they want to confiscate your guns so they can resell them at a fraction of the cost of some child soldier and some other impoverished warlord-infested nation, which of course they want to take over. But first they need to overthrow and destabilize the nation first, and that's how you arm the warlords first. Democrat or Republican, no difference. Anyways. Peace.